Get Lit Podcast, a podcast brought to you by Southern Lighting Solutions. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. I'm also a co-founder at Southern Lighting Solutions. I am joined by Tarek Lemedine, my business partner and also co-founder of Southern Lighting Solutions. We have the solution for your lighting issues. And today is episode 2. And we're talking about design. It's going to be a fun one. We're excited about it. This is a service. We kind of talked about it in the first episode, looking to bring this service here to America. You haven't seen a whole lot of it. So first and foremost, say hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I talked too much right there. But we want to talk about, like, what is light design? Because, you know, there's sort of some confusion of language there. Because we do fixtures here, you know, we do light design in terms of fixtures when you're talking about...
That's fixture design.
Right, okay. So there's fixture design, but we're talking about light design, which is designed for spaces and, you know...
It's your architectural design work is what it is.
Okay, just the lighting portion.
Just the lighting portion.
Okay, so walk us through, you know, sort of the first time you ever came across this.
Oh, God, this was a few years ago. Project in Saudi Arabia where the consultant and client asked for the lighting design for a space that we were doing, or a space that we were actually bidding on. It was part of the submittal. So we'd given the fixtures and they asked for the IES files because they needed to plug it in and see if it would match with the lighting design. So the consultant needed that information. And when I asked the manufacturer, they said absolutely. They would give the IES files. And this was something that was really new to me. I did not know that. I mean, obviously I knew there was a form of lighting design, but I didn't know it was that disciplined to that point. So, I mean, because it wasn't my field of study, or, you know, it was something that that just came up. You know, I'd been doing a lot of sales already. We'd been doing a lot of setup factories. We'd been doing a lot of retail, OEM, wholesale, white labeling in the Saudi market. And this was the first time that came up.
Now, what is an IES file? Real quick.
It's an Illumination Engineering Society file, basically.
Okay.
That's actually wrong.
Keep going.
That is way. I mean, sorry. An IES file is basically, it's just a lighting file is what it is.
Okay. It's a file extension specifically dedicated towards light and light design.
Correct.
Okay. So when you're thinking about light design, you know, one of the things that we've sort of found here as we've started working in the market is, you know, a lot of people just say, well, that's the electrical engineer or the electrician's job.
Sure.
They kind of look at it and say, there should be a light there should be a light there. How does this improve on that?
Well, I mean, right now, what we've seen so far, and the various clients that we've met with, various operators, various architects, is when they need to do lighting design for their project, they just give it to an electrical engineer who goes with a set methodology and says, well, we need to put lights here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We put a 2x2 panel, then we're going to leave 3 empty, put another 2x2, leave 3 empty, do another 2. It's standard practice.
Right.
Okay? Now, that was viable with fluorescent, with incandescent, you know, with other forms of lighting. Not really with LED. Because LED, in the same fixture, you can control the output. So a 2-foot by 2-foot panel can be 3,000 lumens or 12,000 lumens.
Right.
You know, depending, you know, where you're putting that, you're going to have a lot more light than you need. So you can actually reduce the number of fixtures that you use, and use lighting software for that.
And it allows you to provide more value for the customer.
Sure. I mean, not just that. If you have an interior architect or a designer and you're designing your house and you have this beautiful image of how you want your bedroom or your living room or whatnot, and you've got hidden lighting, you've got cove lighting, you've got, you know, architectural downlights and whatnot inside there. To know how it's going to come out and select the right fixture from the right company, you need to use a proper lighting design software to develop that.
Right.
To know placement.
So It's not only from a functional standpoint, it's also from and as you said, almost an artistic standpoint.
Sure, I mean, the lighting software doesn't lie. Anyone can go to, and you see it a lot, 3D Studio Max or Photoshop and spruce up an image to look absolutely amazing.
Sure.
But when the final thing comes, you're like, well, that didn't look like it's supposed to.
Right.
I'm looking at this image and I'm looking at the real thing, and they don't correlate.
Right.
With the lighting design software and what we use, it doesn't lie. It's mathematics. It's physics.
Sure.
It just gives you exactly what you're going to get. It's not going to give you the same polished look. We can do that later on.
Sure.
But as an end user, if we're doing design for a hotel operator,
mm-hmm.
they don't want to see the final aesthetic. They do, but they want to know, am I getting the minimum light requirements for our rooms, for our bedrooms, for our guest rooms?
Right.
And each area, each zone has its own independent requirements.
Right.
With hallways, with the bedrooms, with the bathrooms, you have the kitchenettes. Each one has its own independent lighting requirement, and then you need to be able to set scenarios, for the guest room management services. If it's during the daytime, if there's evening, are there sensors when somebody's walking in, what turns on, what doesn't? So they get an idea of flow.
Right. And, it's not just, you can provide this service for a lot of different people. It's not just about large warehouses or hotels, for instance.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've done it for small offices, we've done it for hotel operators, we've done it for large oil and gas, we've done it for cruise ships. There's lighting design for yachts, even for the boats that go outside, for the boats that people use for fishing.
Okay.
You can actually do some form of design to know the placement of fishing lights.
Right. Okay.
There's even a science and an art to doing that.
Sure.
I mean, it's not prevalent. I mean, most fishermen, these days they know where to put it, but I mean, the science is there.
And you never know, with a little extra science and art, you might be able to take it a step further.
Absolutely.
Now, the interesting thing is when we talk about the software, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but within it, it takes everything into account. So if you're doing an office and there's lights, artwork, paint color, floor type,
we can
all of that.
Incorporate all of that. We can even build, a 3D file, import it inside if you have a specific design for desks. If you have an executive level office, which has very intricate work, we build all of that in to know exactly how the light is hitting, how it's being thrown around.
Right, and it takes, when you're talking about sort of those extra things that are in the environment, you take every curve into account.
Sure. I mean, how can you tell, how light is going to react in a room if there's no furniture, you don't have the color of the walls, the ceiling, there's no furniture, the flooring, what is it? If I just come in and I leave it plain as is, it's not going to be a true reflection of the end result. Much the same way, if you have your walls are all black or a dark color, dark shade versus white, the room with the white is going to give off a lot more light. It's going to be a lot brighter. Not give off more light, but a lot brighter than a dark room. Although the dark room may have the appearance that there's more light in it just because it's playing off. The light's playing off of the darker colors.
Right. So when you're talking about dealing with all these intricate pieces of the puzzle, a lot of people, especially in America, where, drawings are passed around and that kind of thing, may think that this would take a long time, but we have a pretty robust team here. Turnaround times aren't too bad.
No, I mean, we are able with our team. We've got our own in-house and our partnership. So we've got at our disposal about 40 lighting designers over here. We can turn around, a large-scale hotel from scratch in about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
About how many rooms is that? Yeah.
200 rooms, 300 rooms. I mean, it's all, once you get the initial design, initial layout, it stays the same. It just grows because hotels are very dynamic. They have Junior 1, Junior 2, Junior King, Suite 1, Suite 2, Penthouse. That's it.
Right.
And then because the room layouts are all the same, what may change is, do I have a queen size bed? Do I have a king size bed? Do I have two twins.
So you can kind of build out a template.
Yeah, exactly. And just grow it out. I mean, the hardest part there is the finishing, and then doing the restaurants and the lobbies and,
Right. So tell us a little bit about the value engineering, like just a story that you've used, been able to
Sure.
bring this into a project.
I said this in the first podcast. The easiest way to show value engineering with lighting design is in warehouses. When instead of doing a one-to-one fixture change, you can now reduce by 40%, by 50%, by throwing in optics.
Mhm.
And the lighting software will actually show that happening. Over here in the US recently, we had one project where they were using a fixture which was $100 a foot, and they couldn't get the right outputs that they needed, and they were way over budget. So we used the lighting software. We found similar products to give different outputs that were needed at 20% of the cost. And all we did in the lighting software is we added in all the details. So the initial throw-out that the lighting software gave wasn't high enough. Once we got the color of the walls, the ceiling, the floor, the reflectances, and plugged all of that in, all of a sudden we hit the threshold. When the client saw it, it's like, it's like a light bulb going off. Wow, I didn't, why are our engineers not doing this? And the reason is because they don't know about the software.
Right.
They've never done this. This is not an engineering field. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Sure.
Engineers should know how to read this information and process it. But with the rest of the world, where Europe and the Middle East and Asia is concerned, it is lighting designers, which is a discipline of architectures. So it's architects that are actually focusing on this. So when you go into engineering, you can be a mechanical engineer, you can be an electrical engineer, you can be a nuclear engineer. When you go into architecture, you can actually focus. I want to focus specifically on lighting design,
Sure.
on lighting architecture.
Sure. So, and that's interesting. That's kind of for us here, we do fixtures as well. A lot of times we can source, we can say, look, if you want to save some money, we have these fixtures and we can change the light design to be this.
Sure.
It's going to save you some money over that time.
I mean, yeah, well, that's the beauty of us being a solutions provider. Yes, we make our own items here. Yes, we bring in our own items as well, but we're also brand agnostic. So we have partners in Europe. We have partners in the US. We have partners in China that if we don't have the fixture, we're still going to propose them and offer it. I mean, there's no loss for that there. We want to be brand agnostic when it comes to lighting design. We're not just going to use our own fixtures. If there's a better option, better solution out there, we're going to give it. And that's, Southern Lighting Solutions.
Right, and we do have a matrix that or a rubric that comes up.
Absolutely, and it's no different with other manufacturers that have worked with us, that have taken our items. If we do something which is better, more cost effective for them, why not?
Right. So getting into the software itself, you can take anything from an AutoCAD to a PDF and build out from there.
Sure. I mean, we'd prefer not to work with PDFs,
right?
Just because they're a bit more difficult. With the second thing we always ask for is A, do you have an AutoCAD file? And B, if they have a Revit file or a SketchUp file, it's even better because that 3D is already built out. But at your base, as you can see here on our screen, we started with an AutoCAD and we just build it out slowly, room by room, section by section. As you can see in the AutoCAD right now, you have all the details. So here we're building out the room and we're going to start sectioning it off area by area. Okay?
Okay.
So you have room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. And what you see happening here on the inside is we're putting the inner walls, the inner contours, and we're following the actual AutoCAD layout that's given to us. So the beauty with this is you have the exact dimensions. We're not running off of, PDFs where it's handwritten or, 15 3/4. No. Just take the AutoCAD and draw it in ourselves without issue. And it speeds up the process.
Sure. It gives you a better place to start from.
Exactly. From here, you can see you have room 1, 2, 3, 4. It's brought it up in 3D. And from there on out, we can start placing all of our software. We set the room heights. We put any interior ceilings.
And you just kind of build up.
You're building it out, exactly. So you can see here the software is all, this will be sped up, but you can see the room slowly being built, all the little nooks and crannies, all the little architectural edifices that are there.
Sure.
You'll notice at one point there are different ceiling heights, so you get those hidden coves. Right now, you can see that a bed is being put into place. It is a very big bed, but this bed was built in another 3D software to give you the exact look and feel. So if I stop it right here.
Right, go ahead and stop it, because that's something I want to bring up. A lot of this stuff, especially with the experience that we have in-house and with our partners, well, a lot of the reason that this is expedited and so efficient is because we have a lot of this stuff pre-done.
Huge database, yeah. And we've got a team that do nothing but build this stuff in 3D.
Right.
And because we've worked with so many hotel operators, as an example, for what you see being built out here, which is a guest room, usually we know exactly what they're using. We have all the various different styles. And because if it's a Marriott or a Hilton or a Holiday Inn, they usually have standards that they follow. They really don't deviate.
Right.
So when it comes to concept, we build it like that. If they want anything different, they'll get back to us.
Right.
And it's not the hotel operator themselves, but the architect that's building it out.
So you want to, and one of the most important things about this is with light design, and especially as light fixture people like we are, you want to be involved as early in the process as possible.
Absolutely.
Because the later you come in, then your options are more limited.
Yes and no. Yes and no. We want to be there because we want to be able to show what's happening. So if they want to make any changes, that doesn't mean we can't do the changes later on. That happens at a later stage. If you want to use different brands, right now we're building with brands that we know that we use with those files.
Right. So,
but that's what I'm saying, being brand agnostic.
Right. And that's part of, we're trying to bring you a solution. So if we can't provide part of that solution, we can at least be involved in finding you the best.
Oh, this. We've done 2 or 3 projects right now where we haven't used any of our items whatsoever because we don't have them.
Right.
We don't build those items. And sure we could source them. Sure, our plan is, we will eventually have them, but we're not going to impede or infringe on the client's requirements, on the customer's requirements, just because we don't have them.
Right.
And from there we can work within budgets.
Right. So fast forward a little bit. Let's go to a part where we can see sort of not necessarily a finished product, but just one room where we've had some lights installed and we can kind of see what they're dealing with.
Before that, if you see here, what we've done is, I'm jumping back. So we're about 3 minutes here in. You can see we're starting to place all the various different fixtures inside the bedroom. So you've got your reading lamps, you've got your wall lamps, you've got your desks. The sizes are all being set correctly to where they need to be within the dimensions. All of this is built by us. So our team builds all of these various fixtures. And you do have architectural catalogs where you can download a lot of 3D files.
I got you.
But for the most part, usually our team builds all of this in-house.
Got it.
Yeah. So if I just fast forward here, you see we start setting the colors. And even the bed mattress has its own color. We have the textures that they're using. We've got to be as accurate as possible.
Right. Because those colors are going to determine how the light reflects, what's
100%.
Absorbed, what isn't.
100%.
Like right now, we're in a big black room. A lot of light gets absorbed.
Exactly. So, if we speed it up here towards the end, you can see we've put some, okay, let me go back here and stop that. That's very important. We're just going to wait just a tad second over here. I think I lost it for a moment. No problem. I'll just
speed on.
One of the problems with playing with our videos here. So, we're just going to come towards the end here. And right there. So you can see right here. This room is built out now. You've even got the art that we got from the the end user. This was for a Novotel hotel.
Okay.
So even the TV itself that they have there, as you can see there, it's there you go. You see the Novotel. So this is on the TV. So when you first open up the TV, that's the screen that you would see. So even that's factored in. After the software is rendered, there you go. So before, and then after the calculation done, there is the rendered scene.
Right. And it's currently loading. There it is.
There it is. And that makes a huge difference.
Right. And as you said before, you can take these and actually export them and utilize them in Lightroom and things like that to
100%. From here, this is the file that we would give that you would see, and we would export it to PDF. So the end user has all this information. They have all the viewing angles, anything they want to change. Well, what if I want to put a light here? What if I want to put a light there? What if you know what? I don't want to use SLSR brands. I want to use this other brand. Sure, no problem. You know, how can I do that? Well, very simply, give us the IES files and we will just plug it in. And within minutes, we can say yes or no.
Right.
You know, and it's completely, that's a beautiful image right there. We can say yes, we can say no, and it's completely unbiased.
Right.
The software doesn't lie.
And in the end as well, you can also change these from not just a rendered scenario, but to an actual heat map.
Correct.
And there's a lumen map as well.
Oh yeah, well that's what it is. It gives you a lux map.
Okay.
That's what it does.
Excuse me. So we can do all of this for you here at Southern Lighting Solutions. If you have any questions, of course, we have our website. This video will be available on our social media and on our website. You can always check it out. Our contact information is there. We can help with any size project, and we like to get involved to provide you a solution as best we can.
Absolutely.
So again, Tarek, thanks for walking us through the
pleasure.
The design process. Very interesting stuff. My name is McHugh David. Together we are the co-founders of Southern Lighting Solutions.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys joining us for the Get Lit podcast. We're going to be bringing you more episodes. We brought you 2 this week. You got something special. Only going to have 1 per week coming forward, but don't forget, we have the workbench, usually about 3 episodes per week. We're out there. Tarek is cutting himself, slicing himself, and electrocuting himself, and we have a lot of fun with that. Don't repeat those things at home, but we like to learn a lot about what we have to offer here, and of course, we'll be jumping in here. Going forward, we're going to be talking about stories of things that we've been doing, projects that we've been doing, and
absolutely
trying to give people an idea of just how accessible this is, how much light can change your life, and how much we can do for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got we'd love to talk about projects we've got going on in the Middle East and over here.
Yep, we're slowly but steadily getting involved. We got some drawings today for something here local, and we're very excited about jumping in on that.
Absolutely.
And once we get the go-ahead, we will talk to you guys about that. So, again, thanks for joining us. McHugh and Tarek here. We are signing off for the week. Be on the lookout for our last workbench on high bays tomorrow afternoon. That'll be Friday. And, of course, we'll be back at you guys next week.
Take care.